Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? Okay. Whew. Roland Martin versus Peter or Patrick. Patrick. Yeah. So this was interesting and annoying. Um, let's just start like this. We've heard the intro to his podcast, right? Did you ever think you would make it? And da 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 da. It's really corny. It's corny, motivational. And by the way, today Mr. Z is gonna go a little dark with this. No, I'm not anti-motivational speech or motivational talk. I mean, I listen to rap music, right? Like, but this weaponizing this motivational talk, which by the way, Peter kind of, oh, I keep on saying Peter. Patrick kind of admits that he's on when he pretty much tells Roland. So what does saying that mean? When Roland pinned him with Mississippi being Republican, with Mississippi not having a black um anything in the state legislature, and how long he pinned him. Roland actually did it. As much as we have issues with Roland Martin, he did a pretty good job. And what it kept on coming back to for Patrick is motivational talk, anti-victimhood talk. A lot of this is like, and you heard some of this from Rush Limbaugh when he spoke to um, the Breakfast Club years and years ago before he passed away, right? Which is like, y'all over there with the Democrats, so y'all get what y'all get, right? So let me start off by saying this because Mr. Z is rambling a little bit. Let's start off by this. Roland, how did you not bury Patrick with the fact that he's of Persian descent and he's Iranian descent? Let me short story, expedite the story. If y'all don't know the history of Mossadegh and Project Ajax, Operation Ajax, better yet, and why the Iranian Revolution happened in 1979, or the Iranian Revolution in general, then y'all don't really understand why Patrick's here in the first place, right? What his family ran from in the first place. And the fact that Patrick and many Persians in the U.S. who are in the U.S. because they were running from the Ayatollah in Iran turn around and are conservative Republicans and then attempt to lecture down to black people with all this fake ass, well, my people came here with the dollar, or I didn't have no money and we didn't have anything and we made it. And and why can't y'all do that? And why do y'all vote Democrat? And y'all vote Democrat at some 80 something, 90%. And Bro, the fact that you ran from Iran is the exact reason why black people are in where they are here in America. Black people are not running from America. You ran from Iran. Your people ran from Iran. Don't give me no do for self talk, because if you was really about that life, then you would have moved back. Okay, fine. Your parents moved you to the US when you had no control over your life and you didn't have your own agency in that situation. If you were really about that do for self talk, you would move back to Iran right now. You would set up shop in Iran right now if you're really about that life. Right? So listening to Patrick rail on, and it was beautiful. Roland hit him upside the head with so much, right? So he did the whole, well, y'all are voting Democrat and da-da-da-da-da, and yawn. Instead of voting for what? That do for self, fake anti-victimhood talk y'all doing over there? Let me say this to black people. These other people of color, many of them don't mean y'all no good, right? Many of them don't mean y'all no good. They're doing the same thing the Italians and the Irish did way back when, right? Which is, my people came here during the potato famine with 2 pennies or no pennies or nothing. And look, we made it here. What, you mean because you're seen as less of a threat and you were considered white? That, right? And I'm going to tag Rogish in this too, right? Because Rogish, yes, he's still continuing. And this is, by the way, in Patrick's entire channel, right? Valuetainment entire channel is this type of talk, right? And I'm glad that's y'all heard Mr. Z say it a zillion times. Let these people talk. When Roland finally pressed him, he said, "Okay, well, what are the Republicans supposed to do for black people?" Oh, there we go. So you have a problem with black people voting Democrats. You keep on railing against, you keep on saying, oh, Democrats haven't done anything for black people, and Democrats haven't done anything for black people, and Democrats haven't done anything for black people. And when Roland finally puts your back to the wall and say, so what have Republicans do, or what are Republicans proposing, right? And I'm not saying that Roland Martin is a Democratic shill. Now, we already know about that 2016 election. We'll leave it, put a pin in that. We'll leave that on the side. We ain't going to pretend like Roland ain't a Democratic shill. With that said, right? With that said, when Roland put his back to the wall and said, well, look at Mississippi, what are you talking about? Republicans run the whole state. What are you talking about? Largest black constituent in the whole entire union. What are you talking about? How have black people in Mississippi life improved? Patrick had nothing, silent. Because he know it's race. Let me say this to all black people in America, particularly ADOS as y'all cousin from the island of Saint Domingue, right? Let me say this to y'all. These people of color don't mean y'all no good, number one. And number two, this do for self crap will lead these people to ignore straight up anti-blackness, white supremacy. They will see the white person, the white conservative person stepping on you, even white, and they will only acknowledge it when it comes from the left. They'll acknowledge the benign neglect that comes from the left and not from the political right. They will watch the and this is what Patrick pretty much said. Peter Piper, right? Patrick pretty much said this, which is, what are the Republicans supposed to do? Oh, so you have an issue. Okay, yeah, the Democrats are placating us. Yeah, we have to pull teeth to get anything from the Democrats, but the Republicans won't even meet. Roland kept on saying it over and over and over again. The Republicans won't even meet with us. The Republicans in Illinois, the black Democrats, excuse me, the black Republicans set out a whole entire plan for them. And the first thing the Republicans in Illinois want to say is, oh, we don't want to support welfare. What? The disrespect. And Patrick hears Roland Martin setting out the whole thing, and all he wanted, the person that really don't want to hear what you're saying, so they really be like, so what's the solution? So what's the solution? I don't want to hear the story. That's crap. What's the solution? And they're trying to use that with the solution talk to get you to shut up, because they're trying to say that you don't got nothing to say, when really they don't have anything to say. The what's the solution talk is really their way of saying, could you just shut up already? I don't want to hear that. Just give me some, this is something that's centuries old. It's really this. And by the way, Patrick is Persian, so he already know what permanent underclass means and looks like. He knows. He doesn't want to hear what Roland is saying. Roland is essentially saying that America has designated black people as being the permanent underclass. He understands it. He doesn't want to hear it. That's why he's doing the what's the solution talk. Right? So Roland is going all out. And by the way, for those of you that don't know who I'm speaking about Roland Martin, right? When Roland is setting it out, telling him about housing discrimination, telling him about the young black kids being expelled for the same type of infractions as the white kids, breaking it down for him perfectly. He doesn't want to hear it because that flies in the face of the do for self talk. Right? I want to say this. I don't know where people get this crap from that you can't be a victim. Where do y'all get this stuff from? White, black, or otherwise, mainly come from men, mainly come from conservative men. Where do y'all get this crap from? Oh, that's victimhood talk. Nigga, you're a victim. Or these people are victims. Or that person is a victim. Or that person was a victim. Or that's victimhood talk. They're a victim. Y'all want to be so anti-victimhood talk, so anti-social justice warrior, y'all will watch a person get stomped out and be like, well, just dust yourself up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Y'all sound insane. No wonder Roland was asking you if you on drugs. That's all these people want to talk about, and I'm glad he said it. I don't want to talk about victimhood. So in other words, Roland backed you into a corner when he spoke about Mississippi. And this is, by the way, if you're looking for the part of the conversation where Patrick says this, it's around the time when they were speaking about housing discrimination. And when Roland brought up article after article, research done that shows that these people are getting their houses appraised for hundreds of thousands of dollars less than what it's actually worth, because they're black and there's black pictures and black family pictures in their homes. Patrick had nothing, but why are you bringing that up? Why should that be a thing? In other words, don't talk about that, because that sounds like victimhood talk. How can I sell you do for self and pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you're talking about housing discrimination, if you're talking about appraisal discrimination, which, by the way, isn't about feelings. That's real ass money. That's tangibles. Like Roland said, if my house is worth $500,000, and because I'm black, it's being appraised for $350. That's not just my feelings. That's real money. That's real tangibles. Everybody want to make it seem like racism is some feeling thing. No, it's real. It's really black people getting screwed with their tangibly. You're screwing black people out of money, out of resources, out of opportunities. Everyone really innately understands that, but they want to keep on making it a feeling thing. Or you're just mad because we called you the N-word. Or you're just mad because we called you monkey. No, it's bigger than that. And yeah, so this is what colored anti-black lists look like. It looked like do for self talk. It looked like rugged individuality talk. Excuse me, rugged individuality talk. It looked like, well, my people came here from such and such, and I had to work for a newspaper stand for $2 an hour, and we didn't have any handouts. And yawn, yawn, yawn. You're not the permanent underclass of America. You were designated as the permanent underclass of America. Spare me that talk. Right? That's what it sounds like. And so Roland actually did a bang up job, right? Roland did a bang up job. I'm sorry, y'all. Somebody just cut me off on the expressway. My apologies. So yeah. But I don't know how much Roland knows about, I don't know too much about Persian history. Don't get Mr. Z misconstrued. I don't. But that much I do know. From my understanding, PBD, your people ran from Iran after the Iranian Revolution, which was sparked off because in 1953, the U.S. government overthrew Mossadegh. And the U.S. government, along with the British government, overthrew Mossadegh for what we now call British Petroleum, BP, because Mossadegh wanted to nationalize the oil. So my question would be to you, Mr. PBD, why didn't y'all lift yourself up by your bootstrap? Why didn't your family just stay in Iran and work through the oppression of the Ayatollah, or which you perceive and which your family perceived as the oppression of the Ayatollah? Why not? Huh? Do for self your way out of that. Pull yourself up by your bootstrap out of that. Right? The U.S. government reinstalled the Shah of Iran instead of dealing with Mossadegh, which, by the way, democratically elected. All that talk about, oh no, we're trying to spread democracy around the world. Yeah, that's it. Now, when it comes to that oil, y'all not. Right? So now you have other people of color, and this is not something recent. I know I'm saying now figure of speech, but now you have these people of color joining in on the party with white racists, lecturing down to black people. Why y'all keep voting Democrat? And why y'all keep voting Democrat? And look, Republican policies. Listen, you're a businessman. We understand you on your do for self crap. Valuetainment is making you a whole lot of money off of selling people that Gary V crap. Gary V on the same type of crap. My people came here with no money. I started from the bottom. Look where I am. Yawn, you're not black. Shut up. And you're not ADOS. Even if you were black, you're not ADOS. Shut up. Everybody stay cop and please with this stuff. You're not the number one target because look how you move. Exactly. Doing the bidding of white racists. Right? So so you got this Persian cat debating Roland Martin, pretty much making it seem like not even pretty much, let's cut the crap. Making it seem like institutional racism is not a thing. That's a figment of lazy black Americans' imagination. And if y'all would just stop voting Democrat and vote Republican, then everything will be all right. Well, black people are still not voting Republican, but the Republicans run much of the states in the South, and black people have advanced a whole lot, haven't they? Oh, wait a minute. Right? Black people have advanced a whole lot, haven't they? That was great that Roland Martin just threw Mississippi in your face and you had nothing. And you know when somebody's trying to stall, so when Roland brings up, the whole housing discrimination and talking about Jim Crow, which y'all have heard me also say, like black people in America are only 50 years out of Jim Crow, right? He had nothing for that, y'all. Nothing. The number one target of America, right? Because of race. And he had nothing. All right, let me make sure I get to some of my points. I'm gonna put it down. Let's see. Right. And yeah, like I said, people of color racism masked as, excuse me, people of color racism masked as anti-victimhood talk, right? And that's what these people like. This is what they engage in. That do for self talk, that pull yourself up by your bootstrap talk, that super ultra mega entrepreneurial talk that they get to use to obscure anti-blackness racism, right? Because talking like that is just talk for losers that don't want to work hard and try, right? And this is how a lot of people of color work. Well, I'm also a person of color, yeah, but you're not black. And even if you were black, you're not ADOS, right? My people came here with two pennies. Loser talk, right? And so the false attempt at the setup, they try to, put these videos out and hit Roland Martin upside the head with, and Roland Martin is like kind of slapping them away. And y'all failed at the setup. Roland Martin washed you. He washed you. That's why so many of your subscribers, I'm reading through the comments, and the few non-black people that actually had the ovaries or the balls to actually say something, cop and please in the comments. Oh, I couldn't watch more than an hour. I couldn't. Yeah, take your loser ass home. Because everybody just want to chastise black people for voting Democrat. The problem with listen, everybody, black person, whether you're Democrat or conservative or centrist, the problem with black people is that they keep on voting Democrat. That's your problem, beginning, end. Oh, and you don't want to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? And talking race is the talk for losers, right? Talking anti-blackness and not do for self your way out of anti-blackness. That's victimhood talk, right? It's insane, right? And these people really just want black people to ignore anti-blackness, white supremacy, because it doesn't fit nice and neat with their do for self talk, with their conservative talk, right? We can't admit whether you're a victim of of American history. We can't talk that. We can't talk about racism, white supremacy that's still in the system that primarily targets black people. We can't talk that because it gets in the way of our conservative do for self talking point, right? We can't have none of this talk you're doing, right? And when Roland hit him upside the head with meeting with conservatives in Illinois, black conservatives rolling out the plan of how to get more black voters and whatnot in Illinois. And the first thing out of the white conservatives' mouth is, yeah, we're not going to support welfare. What? And the black conservatives are like, who brought up welfare? That lets you, and Patrick hears that and he has nothing. Just admit that you one of these low level, maybe not so low level, anti-black people, that you're okay with this type of talk. As long as it doesn't get in the way of your dollar, right? Black people, can y'all just shut up about this racism, white supremacy, and let me sell my courses and do what I do and sell this build yourself up and pull yourself up by a bootstrap talk and all this fake ass motivational talk? Right? Shout out to Rogish. Yes, it is people of color, white supremacy. Under the guise of do for self and entrepreneurialism, right? And bootstrap talk. That's all that is. You know, and so when Roland hits him with the data, and Roland's good. He's like in his phone, boom, look at this, boom, look at that, boom. Not even setting him up. Patrick tried to set up Roland. Roland was so good with boom, look at this, look at this, look at this. He's ignoring all of it. Of course he is, right? And he said, and so Roland's like, so what you need to meet all the 48 or 47 million black people to believe these type of things, right? And even with that, because it's not about the facts, it's about you getting in the way of the narrative, the do for self, pull yourself up by your bootstraps narrative, right? And that's what PBD has a problem with. And that's what, by the way, that's why when that black young lady or black looking young lady was speaking to Adam about the Jess Pearly thing, and she brought up race for a second, that's why he got quiet. All these people of color, including white folks, clearly, all these different ethnic minorities, right? Once black people start talking race, they get real. If they can't shut you up, train tracks, listen, all black people, brothers, sisters, whatever, if they can't shut you up, if you actually know what you're talking about and you're a good debater, they get quiet. Ask Mr. Z how he know. They get quiet. All these people of color that white society uses as the foil or attempts to use as the foil for white supremacy, look, this person's doing good. When you shut them down with, yeah, you're not black though, and you let them know they ass kissers like I did to a now attorney, out of love, this dude is killing me in life right now financially, right? But before he was that, when I shut him down with like, and it was an Asian dude, I looked him dead in the face in front of one of our white co-workers, and I said, yeah, but y'all too busy. Chinese cat. Yeah, but y'all kissing white ass. And he looked me in the face and said, "For now." Chinese cat. He looked me in the face and said, "For now." Now, me and that white coworker were extra super cool. And later on, I said, "I fucking told you what you thought." And excuse my language. Oh yeah, we're using profanity tonight, Mr. Z after dark, right? I told what you thought. Them Asians really mess with y'all like that? They not. And by the way, we were, you know, when you're joking, but you're kind of not joking with a person. Y'all joking, but y'all kind of got the daggers out for each other at the same time. There's no real animosity there, but it is getting a little spicy with the rhetoric. That's what we were engaging in. So he took a couple of shots at Haiti. I took a couple of shots at China, but he ain't have nothing to say for that white ass. And this was one of those super witty, sarcastic Asian dudes. But when I said that white ass kisser thing, he ain't have nothing to say to that, except for now. Yeah, not for now, bro. Stop it. And I say all of that to say these other people of color, they're playing a game of I'm not gonna be on the bottom. Screw that. And if I gotta sell to black people this do for self-talk, I'll do it. And God forbid I'm an entrepreneur and I'm actually making a way and I got some money. I mean, y'all see other black people do it, so let's stop it. If other black people are doing it, then you gotta know non-black people are definitely gonna engage in that. Right? And that's what they're on. Right? And thank you for the super chat 18th letter. And 18th letter says, if anybody have done for self without any handouts in this country, it has been black men who've pulled themselves up time and time again. Exactly. Exactly. There is no like, look, yo, every group. I've said this, you know, to one of the brothers. I was having a conversation with him the other night, but one of the brothers, we had this conversation, and he tried to bring up Asians, you know, in this space, and I was like, oh no, let me say this again. Let me say this. Let me make sure I say this. There isn't a group of people in America outside of black men that has not had systemic help. Let me say that one more time. Not a single group of people in America of any note or significance that people like to often throw in black men's faces and black people's faces, but particularly black men's faces, not a single one of them didn't have any handouts or well wishes or pats on the back or government grants or not a single one. Name them. From the East Asians to the South Asians to the women to black women, white women, name them. To the Jews, name them. Not a single one. Right? Not one. People bring up the Asians. First of all, that's mainly because of Indians and immigrants, and you could give that to the H-1B visa gang, right? You could credit that to the H-1B visa gang. And once again, they're not seen as a big of a threat as black Americans. That part too. They're not even not seen as a big of a threat. They're not seen as a threat at all, right? People really bought in. I mean, the Homestead Act. Name them. Poor whites got the Homestead Act, right? And FDR with the government programs and the Great Society. And Eisenhower and all of that. And these people just talk like there is no just randomly pulling a group of 40 some odd million black people up without government assistance and government help. I would say if the government could move out the way, but actually now, and y'all wonder why black people work for government mainly in some capacity, or they live in capitals and all across the country, or they live in major cities. They're very, very metropolitan people. You know why? Because the private sector eats black people alive. You think government's racist? Wait until you get into the private sector. Yikes. How often y'all gotta have a CEO or somebody that's the head of a bank say some ultra racist stuff, anti-black stuff? How often we gotta catch them saying something like that? Who was it that said black people are like the black jelly beans, they stick to the bottom, nobody want them? Right? Banks getting sued because they're discriminating against black people for housing loans, or targeting black people for subprime housing loans. Even the black people that can afford the home, they don't need the subprime loan. And then these people turn around and tell black people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. If you really believed in that, then you would be back in your parents' home country. Or if you were born there yourself, you would have moved back. When you turn 18 or 21 or however old, or you know what, I'll give you when you graduated college. You would have moved back if you really was about that life. You're not about that life. Stop selling that to black people then. Right? And Detroit says, and shout out to Detroit, and Detroit says, the motivational talk videos makes me cringe, sounding like Morgan Freeman speaking his narratives. Bro, and like I want y'all to understand, like Mr. Z is not against putting a foot in a young man's ass and telling him, yo, you don't got a choice. You gotta do. Y'all gotta know, like, Mr. Z has a son, I'm on his ass. And I'm not against fathers and uncles being on the young man's ass. I'm not against it. But when you're talking to grown adults with this fake ass motivational talk and do for selferism talk, and more importantly, ignoring the systemic issues that are in the way of even implementing what you're talking about, right? It is enraging. And you're speaking to a person that currently is putting in 70 plus hours a week at work and maintaining a relationship. Right? So spare me the lazy talk. And there's other black men, if given the opportunity, do the same thing. No complaints. Oh, well, I can afford to pay my bills and have a little bit of, money for leisure, and sign me up. Right? So PBD just talking. Because once again, what he advocates for flies in the face of what Roland Martin is speaking about. Listen to the intro of his podcast. It tells you everything you need to know. Right? So when Roland is breaking down, giving you everything, and just straight, Roland, when they started disagreeing with each other, really, Roland told him straight up, The Republicans don't even want to meet with black people, with black politicians, even conservative Republican black politicians. In other words, we already know what Tim Scott is. They just want you to hold the soap. Just go down and go lecture your people about why they don't vote for us enough. Even though we really don't care for them to vote for us enough, we got a whole white racist contingent over here, right? That's why I told people, y'all really thought Candace Owens was gonna move the envelope. She's not. Every decade or so, we get a new, fresh, young face of black conservative people think are really gonna push the envelope. They're not gonna push the envelope. They're just here to make it seem like the Republicans aren't as racist as they are. And once again, let me say it again, because you got to preface your statement. This is not Mr. Z saying the Democrats aren't racist, right? The racism of low expectations, etc., and all the things the conservative brethren say. Yes, okay, yes. Conceded all of that already, right? But I always bring it up to conservative brothers. Y'all know it. Y'all know what Mr. Z gonna say. Why Candace Owens over there? Because 94 some odd percent of black women vote Democrat. And black women being we already know we have a problem with this in this space, black women being the moral center of America, 94% of them voting against you. Ugh. So this is where Candace Owens comes in. Right? It's not a coincidence that they keep on championing Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens. What's the two groups of people that vote Democrat at highest numbers? Black people, but namely black women, and for the ethnic whites, Jews. For the ethnic whites, Jews, or for the notable ethnic whites, Jews. So Ben Shapiro's there to make the Republicans seem not as anti-Semitic as they are, and they are really anti-Semitic. And to make them seem not as misogynist and racist as they are. You don't want to talk about misogyny. All this the black men are misogynistic. What? The unmitigated gall of calling black men misogynistic in the U.S. when y'all got all those white racist dudes over there on the other side that y'all low-key secretly want to marry and have kids with. Right? Oh, Michael Ross, they got tangibles for you over there. They'll flick a couple of coon dollars to you if you go lecture back at black people and ask them why they're not voting Republican. Right? And by the way, if y'all don't realize it, and hopefully the people that are listening in, this is not an endorsement of the Democrats. I just want to make sure that I say that also. This is not an endorsement. We're going to have that debate at, the clock is ticking. We're going to have these conversations as this election season ramps up. But as of right now, this is not an endorsement of the Democrats or even the left for that matter right now. I'm really speaking about Patrick versus Roland Martin in this conversation. By the way, I will link. I didn't put the link in the description, but I'll link it in the description after the video. Right? But these people are willing to. Well, we already know they're willing to sacrifice black people. And Patrick just kept on pushing. Why do black people vote Democrats? The Democrats haven't done anything for black people. And this is where Roland Martin comes in and says, well, the Democrats are the only ones that's talking to black people. Republicans aren't talking to black people. They're not even really trying to talk at black people. You know how bad it is when you don't even talk at black people? Forget talking to black people. They barely talking at black people. It'll mess with their racist white vote contingent. Right? Roland Martin telling you state by state, black Republicans bringing in white Republicans and saying, hey, speak against this church, fire, or speak against this shooting, or say something to let black people know that you feel them somehow. And by the way, I'm really against. Let me pause right here with this also, because I got to say this, because I know we're gonna get into this election cycle. Stop telling black people, oh, y'all feel y'all way through. Y'all need to vote. Listen, Americans vote with their gut. Stop lecturing down to black people and saying, y'all voting out of feeling. Which one of these groups of people ain't voting out of feeling? Stop doing that. Oh, see, when they're in church or when they're in synagogue, they get together and they talk about policy. No, they don't. Stop. These people vote from their head, from the cerebral, and we vote like this, and we vote out of emotion, and all you gotta say is something that kind of sounds racist, and it'll get us to move a certain way. Wait, y'all think non-black people aren't the same? What? But look, GC, you literally beat me to it. Thank you. And GC said, "Yep, everyone votes based off of stupid shit like who they like to have a beer with." Literally, that was like not all of George W. Bush's campaign, but much of his campaign was he's the dude you'll have a beer with. He's funny. Remember what he said to Al Gore? Well, if you invented the internet, then why does it say www? Ha ha ha! All that folksy humor. That's the same thing they tried to run with Sarah Palin. And then they tell him like, "Oh, you vote out of your emotion." Mr. Z's doing the duck face right now, y'all. Right? So Roland just was body blowing Peter. He just was giving punch to the rib, punch to the stomach. Because I agree. Look, I agree. If we're going to go in on Democrats about what they haven't done with having the black vote for about 60 years, then you have to look at the states that have majority Republican for the past 60 years, and then you would have to say they're doing better. You would have to say those states like Mississippi, like Alabama, that have had Republicans running the state the entire time over the past 60 years since the end of Jim Crow, 50 years for Jim Crow, right? That have large populations of black people. 30 some odd percent of the state are black people, right? 33, 30%, 28%, all across the South, mainly red states. Some now flipping a little purplish, like Florida, like Texas, but mainly red states, especially when you get out of the city centers. And then you would have to show how black people's lives have improved in these states. You know why they won't do that? Because then we're going to have to start talking about how racism is a two-party game. Right? How it's a two-party game. So from this point on, Patrick's going to have to do his research, study before he bring on somebody. Because you let Roland Martin show you up. Yikes. Right? And Namath says PBD an Iranian of Armenian and Assyrian descent, which makes him Caucasian and Semitic. He's not ethnically Persian, and there you go, and there you go, right? So this do for self talk and rugged individuality talk and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and anti victimhood mentality talk. That's really what it is. The pull yourself up by your bootstrap talk, that already is bad enough as it is, especially when it's weaponized against black people. But what's really disgusting is that anti-victimhood talk, especially directed towards black people with black people's history, black ADOS people's history in this country. And that's why it's good to watch these debates with a person that kind of knows what they're doing. Because just like Ezra Klein was able to hem up Ben Shapiro, Roland Martin hemmed up Patrick on this one. Peter Pepper, right? He was able to hem up Patrick on this one. Because once you do the whole, why would I tell them that? Why do you want them to know that? So you're understand. So that's why you see some of this pushing back on DeSantis and some of this kind of book burning thing that these people like to engage in, because they're really saying, why would I tell you that? It goes against everything I stand for. I don't want you to have air quotes victimhood mentality. So let me not tell you the full truth. That lets you know all these people that claim they believe in the truth, actually they believe in lying by omission. They believe in lying by omission. Why would I tell you that? Why would I tell you that an appraiser can come to your home that's worth $550 that you're attempting to sell, $500,000 that you're attempting to sell, and then appraise it for $150,000 less just because you're black? Why would I tell you that? Right? And that's where black people find themselves. Virtue signaling Democrats, right? And let's ignore your pain Republicans. Yikes. Talk about a rock in a hard place. You might get a crumb from the Democrats, and then the Republicans act like they don't know you. By the way, you might get a crumb from the Democrats, half a crumb, a quarter crumb, quarter crumb. Feel like I'm OJ the Juice Man, right? And Tampa Bong says, and thank you for the super chat, brother. He says, left left wing, right wing, tongue tied, right wing, same bird of prey. I I like fried I like fried wings, hysterical. So when either side gives me boiled wings, I pass. Vote your thoughts and your feelings. I agree. I agree. Right. And on that note, in MRT, we'll have the conversation. We'll have the conversation. Right. And MRT says DeSantis was reelected with a larger margin. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. The comment moved. You know. And he said once again, MRT says DeSantis was reelected with a larger margin than when he was originally elected. There is no real pushback. Right. And Tampa Bong says the Dems ran a former Republican in Florida, so DeSantis' victory was assured. And there you go. So it was the Republican versus the Republican light. right? So yeah, we'll end it there. That's my little rant, right? That's my little rant. Let Roland Martin show you up because you over here playing white racist politics as a person of color, ish, kind of, sort of, with ethnic white. What I call them, spicy whites, as a spicy white. And I'm gonna get out of here because I don't want to step on Art New Style toes too much. Just wanted to rant my head off right now. you know, happy rantings. You know, and y'all, thank you for listening in, and so let's do our outro. Y'all have a great rest of your night. Um, love, peace, and chicken grease. I will pause right here. Right, y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content. Definitely other non-Manosphere content like this. Right. And I watched debates. I watched, like, y'all see. I shared the Richard Wolff debate with the brother. Why his name just slipped out? How I remember Richard Wolff's name and I don't remember his name. Um, and I've scrolled through his channel multiple times. I don't agree with him, but whatever. Um, I share. I need to. You know what? I need to share that Ezra Klein and Ben Shapiro debate because I've been referencing it way too much, and I've never shared it. Let me share that, right? And I need to go back and rewatch Jordan Peterson versus what's his name, Michael Eric Dyson debate. There's some really good stuff, right? And even, like, what debate was it where they were debating the rise of China, and I watched it. Like, yeah, there's some good stuff, right? Yeah, right. And we'll end out with one of my subbies, one of my faves, Big Kev, and Big Kev says the Black Brain Trust has a good point. Do not rely on politicians to come and save you. Good point, right? But I do believe in pressuring them to either get out the way or help with some policies. That much I do agree with. You know. Anyway, on that note, like we said, the election season is ramping up, so let's get ready to rumble, right? And this is gonna be good. So. And on that note, and Detroit says Art's channel, yeah, Art. I think Art New Style, shouldn't he be going live in a little bit if he hasn't already? And we'll end it there. All right, you guys, y'all have a great rest of your night. Go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, um, and y'all have a great rest of your night. Right, and Mr. Z out. I'll see if I can make it to Art New Style's channel tonight, hopefully. Right, and y'all have a great rest of your night. And Toya said, "Yep, he is." Okay, perfect. All right, y'all have a great rest of your night. Mr. Z out.